Welcome back to every Chess YouTube channel. Today's class we'll be learning how to make this lovely 3D applique that we see here. It can be in a straight form or we can bend it to form any design of your choice, as you can see. So we'll be checking out how to make this using our lace fabric or to create a completely different one that we can style anyhow you want as well. It's a very simple tutorial and it's beginner friendly. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to create this applique, you can either use a ready-made or you can create your own pattern. Basically, what I mean by ready-made is a fabric that adds its own pattern, just like we have on this lace. It can be a lace, it can be an Ankara fabric or whatever fabric that you wish to trace out, and it can also be a ready-made the one that you're going to create yourself. So in this tutorial we're going to be doing the two. I'm using this lace for the ready-made while we're going to be creating another pattern entirely. Of course, this is like a net fabric, which means it cannot stand on its own as an applique. So what you just need to do is to get something to make it stronger. So you can either use a bobby net. A bobby net is like a felt, it's like organza, but it's stronger than organza, so you can attach it to this to make it stronger, or you can use any fabric of your choice. So for this I'm going to be using this doll face fabric, okay, because I really want this to be stronger. You can see that I've fused my gum stay to this fabric. So after this now I'm going to be doubling it, because you cannot place it like this so that your stay is not going to be showing underneath like this. So I'm going to be doubling it, and this is even going to make it stronger, and then placing it on it like this to attach. So to attach this now together, you're going to need your gum stay. Okay, so this just melts the two fabric together. So what you just need to do now is to place this underneath your fabric and arrange it very well, making sure that all the areas are covered. Then you're going to place it like this. So after placing everything together, you're going to bring in your lace, and then you place your lace on it before you use your hot iron to attach them together. So you place it carefully. You can see how I am carefully placing mine. Okay, so you use your steam iron to iron it together. So when you're ironing, because there are holes here, I don't want the gum stay to touch my iron, so I'm just going to cover it with a piece of fabric, and then I use my steam iron to iron them together. So before you place it on your fabric, remember we are doubling this, and folding them together will not make them fuse together. So the first one you need to fuse together is this double doll face that we have. So I'm going to be placing my gum stay on this first, and then I'm going to cover it up so that I can fuse them together. So after fusing them together now, I'm going to place my lace on it and then fuse my lace to it as well. So just watch how I'm placing the gum stay, and make sure that you apply it to every corner so that it can take all of them together, and then you cover it up and use your iron to glue them together. Okay, so you can apply to both sides or just one side. So after covering it up like this, I'm going to bring in my fabric and iron. So I've ironed them together now, and as you can see, it is one single piece now. It's fused together. So after doing this, I'm going to use my gum stay. I'm going to bring in my lace just like I explained, and I'm going to lay my gum on it as well, and then fuse my lace to the fabric. So before applying your gum stay, you can see gum stay can fail you, so it's not gluing very well. So it's advisable that you also use your glue between your gum stay and your fabric, so that it can secure it permanently for you. So you can place your glue underneath your fabric before even placing your gum stay. So the glue is just going to glue them together, and then you're going to be sure that it's not going to fall apart. Okay, so I'm going to use my glue to also glue these parts together. Okay, so I've gone ahead to fuse them together, and if you look closely, you cannot view the glue because it's going to melt and then gum both of them together. So you can see what we have. I wish you can touch this. It's very, very strong. So this is the texture that I want to go for. That's why I decided to use my doll face fabric and then add my gum stay. So if you have a hair stay is preferable, but I have gum stay, so that's what I'm going to be using. The next thing now is to trace out the pattern that you want to work with. So I have my pattern that I'm following. You just need to follow the pattern of whatever fabric that you're working with. So using my scissors, I'm just going to come here now and carefully trace out this pattern. Okay, so now I'm cutting it and then I'm tracing it. So like I said, there are different types of 3D applique design. There are some that you can actually bend, but for this particular design, it's just going to be standing on its own. So in the other one that I'm going to teach us in this video, that one will be bendable. So you can use the method for this if you also want it to be controllable, that you can bend it anyhow you want. So now, just like I'm tracing this now, I'm going to start cutting this to remove my applique. Okay, so you can see what I have here. In order not to make this video too long, I'm just going to do this off camera. Just cut around your applique. Okay, so I'm gonna head to cut out the shapes that I have, and you can see what I have. This is what it looks like on the wrong side, and this is the right side. So you can decide to arrange this on your fabric anyhow, on your dress anyhow you want, to form whatever pattern it is you want to use this for. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and if it's not thick enough, you can add as many layers of fabric as you want. You just need your hemming glue to keep joining them together. So we move straight to the second type. So the second type is the one you create your pattern yourself. So for this, you can create any pattern of your choice. So I have about a paper of 8.5 inches by around 3 inches here. So this is what I'm going to be using as my template. So to have the same thing on both sides, so I have them uniform, I'm just going to fold this into 2. So after folding it into 2 now, I'm just going to cut out any pattern of my choice. So what I want is just to have something like a leaf. So here I'm just going to cut this out like this, and then I'm going to open it up to see if it's too wide. I don't want it this wide, so I'm just going to further trim it off a bit, and this is what I have. I think I prefer this shape. So like I said, any shape of your choice. So I'm going to be working with this fabric. Okay, this is the fabric I just have, but the fabric is soft, so this is not going to be a problem because I'm going to be using another fabric to strengthen it, just like I did earlier. So I'm using this shimmery fabric. I don't know the name of the fabric, it's just like a sample material. So to strengthen this, I'm going to be using another fabric. You can double this fabric as well or triple it. So like I said, you can use the same fabric or use another fabric entirely. So I want to use this fabric. So this is two layers of this fabric that are fused together the same way I fused my gum stay. So what I just did is the same way I fused the bridal satin. What I did was to add my gum stay, then after adding the gum stay, I placed my hemming glue and then fused them together. So you can see how strong it is. So that is what I'm going to be using for this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do to this as well is to fuse my gum stay to it, because this fabric is very soft. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and fuse the gum stay. So like I was saying, my fabric is very soft, so I'm going to be having like 4 layers. So what I did to this, I'm going to do to this as well. After fusing my gum stay, just if we do not understand what I was saying, I'm going to place my hemming glue on it like this and then use them to fuse each other again. So this is going to serve as my main fabric sort of, and this is going to serve as my lining. You don't have to have 4 layers if you are not using this type of fabric. If you are using a regular fabric, you can just have 2 layers, and then you can use your bobbinet on each of them to fuse them. Then you fuse them together with your gum stay, or you can just use your hair stay on each of them and then you fuse them together with your gum stay, so with your hemming glue. So whichever one is fine, but this fabric is really soft. So I'm going to be having like 4 layers, and each layer is going to serve as main fabric, and then the other one is going to serve as the lining. So it's fused together now. The next thing is for me to go ahead and place my template on this pattern, on this fabric now, and then cut the template out. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut them out now. I have about 4 of them. So to make this bendable, we are going to be working with this wire that we have it. The copper wire, you can use any wire of your choice, just something to bend it. So I'm going to straighten it out now, and then I'm going to measure the length that I'm working with. So once I have my length, I'm going to cut it out. So after cutting it out now, you take your glue gun or any strong glue that you have, and then you use them to glue it together. I cannot find my glue gun here, so I'm just going to be using my candlestick manually. So I've lighted the candle, and I'm going to be using that to melt my candlestick. So once I melt it, I'm just going to dab it at the center part like this. So please use your glue gun to do this, to make it easier for you. So after melting my candle, I'm just, so if you, in case you don't have a glue gun, you can just get this candlestick and then you melt it with any source of light that you have. And once you melt it, you just dabble it around at the center point like this. So after placing that, you have to be very fast so that it doesn't dry up. I'm going to place my wire carefully. So after placing the wire again, I'm going to use the gum on it again. So I'm going to do this for all of them. Okay, so I'm just placing my gum just to secure it, and I'm pressing it down as I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm going to place the wire between all of them like this. Okay, so I've gone ahead to add this to all of them now, as you can see. So it's black like this because I used a candle to melt my candle wax. So the next thing you need to do now is to cover all of this up with your lining. Remember I said one is going to serve as my main fabric and the other as my lining. So to cover all of this now, I'm going to bring in my hemming glue again and then cut it in pieces like this. Then after cutting it in pieces, you use it to, so after you had a reasonable amount of hemming glue, you just cover it up like this and then you iron it flat. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay, so after gluing them together like this, all you just need to do is to bring in your scissors and then trace out your shape like this, and your applique is ready. So you can beautify this with whatever it is that you want. You can use trimming, you can use stones, you can use flower, just beautify it anyhow you want. So this is what I have, this trimming here. So I'm just going to glue it all around. I've done this to the other ones, and this is what I have. So you can beautify this anyhow you want. So after beautifying it, because of the wire that is inside, you can bend it as much as you want to form whatever design that you want. So you can see I'm bending this. So you can either use it straight like this, or you can just bend it and fold it anyhow you want to form your design. So the same way we applied wire to this, you can also apply wire to the ready-made applique. So what you just need to do is to use one layer of fabric on the main bodies, so that you can use the other layer to cover up your wire when you are done. And then when you apply your wire, you'll be able to bend this anyhow you want. So I'm going to go ahead and fix this on my fabric. You can use your glue to fix it, or you tack it with your sewing machine. And then I'm going to bring it back to show us what we have. Okay, so before I go, I just want to show us what it looks like to add wire to the other ready-made applique. So you just add your wire like this, and then you cover it with another layer of fabric, and then you trace it out just like we traced it out earlier. So when you add your wire, you'll be able to bend this as well. So you can see what we have here. You'll be able to bend it anyhow you want and as much as you want. Okay, so this is what we have. You can tack it to your fabric or you use your glue, but I just pinned it to my fabric, and this is what the red applique looks like. So with your wire, you can bend it anyhow you want. You can see the one with wire can be bent to form any design you want, while the one without the wire cannot be bent. It can only stand straight like this. So this is what the other one looks like. With this, you can be creative. You can form any shape of your choice. It can be in form of a star, a petal, a leaf design, or whatever design that you wish to form. So after tacking or arranging it anyhow you want, you just need to use your trimming to cover up that place so that it's not going to be obvious, and you have something this beautiful. You can see how lovely this is looking, and it's really beautiful. It can be arranged anyhow you want, and it can be used to form any design. That's why they are the creator of this particular one, unlike this that we just traced out what we already have on our lace fabric. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed this, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.